Good morning from the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your forecaster Jeff Monk looking at the planning outlook on the mountains for a week or so ahead. First of all, a general summary of where we're going. We're going to look at the weekend, and we're going to see snow edging east across the country. At this stage, midweek, there's some uncertainty in the timing. By Sunday, that snow very likely confined to the Scottish Highlands, and indeed quite abruptly, hour by hour, changing to rain up to higher slopes or higher summits. Showery elsewhere. Then as we go through next week, we're going to see frequent rain and strong winds come in across Britain. Some doubt as to exactly where a low is going to go around Tuesday or Wednesday, where it's going to take a northern track to the northwest of Scotland, or where it's going to come in across England and Wales. Frequently, though, higher summits in Scotland will be below freezing point. So what I'm going to show you are three sets of charts. I'm going to show you some big picture charts of the isobars over the next week. Then we'll look at the detail, the freezing level for the weekend, and a little bit about the precipitation, mainly again centred on the weekend. So these then are a set of charts of the Atlantic. You can see Britain toward the middle right-hand side, Western Europe, Scandinavia showing up particularly on this map. These charts courtesy of the Icelandic Meteorological Research Brunner. So what we have on the charts are the isobars and the areas of rain added up over a 6-hour period. So this is for midday Wednesday, with southerly winds blowing up the country, but crucially, over the continent, they're coming in from the east before curving from a southerly direction, and that does mean that it's going to bring colder air. So if we go through step by step, by 6 o'clock Wednesday, little change really. Fronts just trying to edge in with their rain into westernmost Britain, Ireland really, Northern Ireland, and into southwest England, possibly southwest Wales, but no further. That cold undercutting easterly wind will bring increasingly low freezing levels to all mountains through Thursday and Friday. This is midday Friday, 1800 Friday, then Friday night, and by the time we get to midday Saturday, we've got precipitation coming in from the west. Different models. This is actually the European Centre model, which has got the rain a little bit further on than some of the other models, or the precipitation further on. But broadly speaking, precipitation, mostly snow to begin with, edging in from the west during the day. Also a lot of isobars, so very windy, and with cold air near the surface, actually, if anything, not a big temperature drop with height. And when you get these conditions, you do get particularly turbulent air over the mountains. So we'll look at those strong gusts as we go on. By Sunday midday, something of a low. This particular model's got it off north-east Scotland again, slightly different timing, slightly different depths. Will it be quite stormy, in other words, upland gales, severe gales, for a few hours across the Scottish Highlands on Sunday? It may or may not. Keeping to the big picture and going quickly through next week now, we see a series of fronts and lows coming in across the Atlantic, deep lows as well. This one that's now Monday night, into Tuesday midday, off Western Britain, and then as we get to Wednesday, this particular model has it between Scotland and Iceland, but others, as I mentioned before, bring the low much further south, perhaps somewhere near the Irish Sea by midday on Wednesday. That may mean much lighter winds for a day or two across Scotland. Chilly, relatively benign conditions for a few days. And then later in the week, by that time, timing really out by a day or two quite easily, but broadly, more Atlantic fronts and lows coming in off the Atlantic. Frequently sub-zero temperatures on the mountains of Scotland, occasionally sub-zero temperatures over the higher summits in England and Wales. So coming now to some of our more detailed charts. A lot of information on these charts, so it's not always easy to see where Britain is. But if I can just point them out, there's the north coast of Scotland, broadly the east coast of Scotland and England, and the Irish Sea in here, the Isle of Man just sticking out. These colours, broadly speaking, we're looking at gales once we get into the reds. These are forecasts at the top of the mountains for this period. So we've got reds, but look how varied it is. And this is a model hasn't really got the resolution to understand the complex shape of the mountains, but it's trying to suggest very windy conditions along ridges, over major summits. So what we're going to see by Saturday is ferocious gusts in places northwest of major summits, rushing down slope, reaching some valleys but not others, huge changes in wind speed over perhaps sometimes a couple of 100 metres, but widespread upland or severe gale force winds, even storm force at times, and the emphasis on very strong gusts. By the time we move on now and we look at Sunday, this actually is the German model, a bit different than the model that I showed you, and it's got a small low, again northeast Scotland, but really the complexity is the shape of the winds, the shape of the strong winds immediately behind this low. Will there be a band of strong winds? How strong will it be? In other words, some uncertainty as to whether we will have upland gales or not over the Scottish Highlands on Sunday, and even whether there'll be a brief lull that may end very abruptly. Generally speaking, as this air comes in off the Atlantic, showery conditions, still snow, still very cold air to begin with across Scotland, but freezing levels rising during the day, which we will look at in a moment. Back to wind now. This is early in the week, Monday. Something of a ridge of high pressure on Monday. Lighter winds, possibly a little bit of a complication to begin the day over Wales. Doesn't show on this model, but there may be rain to start with. Otherwise, a few showers over Western Mountains, but generally speaking, a benign day. Let's look at freezing levels for the weekend. Again, very busy charts. The reds are very high freezing levels. So this is midday Saturday, very high freezing levels over the bulk of Ireland and also southwest England and southwest Wales. A transition. The purples are broadly where freezing levels are just a few hundred metres. These deep purples in here where it's down about 200 metres, and the shading is where it intersects the model's topography. In other words, with very smoothed topography, we're broadly saying that it's freezing down to valleys or down to the land surface, down the spine of Britain and across the mountains of Scotland and Wales. However, where is this boundary going to be? It's only moving slowly. Some forecasts have it a little bit further forward, but at some stage during the day over Wales, freezing levels may abruptly change and precipitation will change from snow to rain very abruptly. It's even possible that the tops could go up above freezing levels even quicker than some of the mid-level heights, so perhaps still freezing at 500-600 metres and up above freezing at 900 metres. However, Scotland in particular remains broadly freezing all day down into the glens, except the far northwest where mixing brings warmer air down to the ground. By Sunday, milder conditions. Now the blues, the deep blues, about 900, 1,000 metre freezing level, but we've still got that very low freezing level. This is mid-Sunday morning, just an hour or two after dawn, still freezing down to lower slopes, northernmost England in Scotland again. It might be 3 hours quicker, might be 3 hours slower, and then during the day it will change completely and only the Munros of Scotland will still be below freezing. Finally, a quick look at the rainfall over the weekend then. On Saturday, shows the precipitation coming in. This is actually middle of the afternoon, an hour or two before dusk. Precipitation coming in from the west, edging in, more or less snow right along the leading edge. Maybe more snow than shown across Wales. How do we indicate snow? We indicate snow by the hatching, which you may just about be able to see. Again, there's a lot of detail on these charts. So deteriorating as the day goes on, again, might be 3 hours quicker, might be even slower. Much of central and eastern Britain may get away with a largely dry day, but very windy, as I mentioned, ferocious gusts, severe wind chill, very widely throughout the day. Not a lot of cloud on the hills, though, ahead of a precipitation, except that is the southeast highlands. And by the time we get to Sunday, again, depending on the different model, most of the precipitation away, some showers coming in from the west, but the hangback of precipitation still over northern and eastern Scotland. Again, considerable variation as to just what the shape of that will be, but it is likely to move away and change to showers, with snow can be coming suddenly confined to higher levels. And then really, in summary, without trying to time things as we go through next week, frequently windy, frequently wet, frequent low cloud on the hills, though, I'll say, some question mark as to whether relatively benign conditions, but with higher summits below freezing, will affect Scotland mid-week. So do enjoy the mountains.